All right, here we go trying it, folks. Let's see what happens. I see Prepared 4 is in here. Welcome, my friend. I was looking forward to seeing you in here tonight, too. Let's see if we get some others popping in and hitting the thumbs up button. And letting me know if this is working. I am trying this on a new laptop. Looks and sounds good. All right. Thank you very much, sir. That's what I was hoping for. To see now, I can use this laptop here when I do my SBA prepping live streams. And my other laptop is set up to do St. Bernard Acres live streams out at the cabin. So that's what I've been needing. It was too difficult making all the changes that had to be made to change the other laptop over to SBA, and then remember to change it back. So we can make this work once we get people coming in here. Or you and I can hang out. It'll be fun getting this channel going. Checking all my settings. Hey Chuck, what's going on, my friend? Welcome. A Wednesday night. I forgot about Ed having his live streams on Wednesday nights. I guess I got to wait for everybody to come out of there. Come over and give me reports as to what's been going on. I have been working on the lighting. I like this lighting a whole lot better than what it's been the last couple of weeks. We'll just wait and see if a few people show up. If we can get some interest going. Well, there's 1 second after. Welcome, 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 welcome. All right. Really excited about SBA. Lots of good things going on. Oh, well, thank you, buddy. Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I'm headed out there Friday, getting back at it again. Got a lot of snow. Yeah, it's starting to come together. It's taken a long time, but you got to do what you got to do. There's going to be a lot of good things going on here, too. Now, my get home bag, I'm going to be doing a video on the whole, like a 72-hour bag. It could be a bug out bag if I need it to be. Hello, Russell. What's going on, bud? In a couple weeks, Gary is headed down to Alabama for a couple days, and I'm going down there with him. Finally, I get to see his Alabama property, and we'll get to test out some of our gear, some of the get home bag. I'm going to try that out while I'm down there. I'll be sleeping in the back of his truck, in the bed of his truck, and he'll be sleeping in the shed that he built. We had about 10 inches of snow in my area in Michigan. I believe it. We got 5 inches, 6 inches down here. Um, I, I was like really impressed with how much snow we got down here. I mean, and what's amazing is my old gravel road out there, Cupic Road that I live on out there, it got plowed. The plows were out there too yesterday. All right, we got 12 viewers, it says. 12 people ought to hit thumbs ups. Get this thing going. It's weird that today, I mean, here in Wheeling, how 5 to 6 inches shut down everything. It was crazy. Wrecks everywhere. I mean, just insane what 5 or 6 inches does. And what, 55 years ago, when I was living in Chillicothe, we'd get 15 inches and life would still be normal. So, hey, Mountain Man, welcome, my friend. Uh, you got it wrong. It's cheese. It's not large white eggs. Okay. I'm a little confused on that one, if you don't mind. How's it going, Mountain Man? Glad you could join me tonight. We're going to get this thing going. But I watch other prepper channels as well. Oh, cheese it. uh, and that's where I came. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Duh. We buy 5 dozen eggs a week. We go through it. I didn't even think about that being there, bud. Well, deer hunting is a little slow to shoot. Yeah, that's what I've heard, and I've been hearing from other people. Bobby is out there right now with some friends of his. They've been out there since Monday when deer season or gun season started Monday. It ends Sunday. Uh, and I told him I'm not out there, so you're welcome. Go over to sit in my barn if you want. I mean, I have deer. I sent him a couple of clips from my security camera. I had a whole herd of does going across the road, going up my driveway. I said, long as I get some meat, you guys can harvest the deer off my property if you want. But it's slow for them out there as well. I saw a whole bunch of them on my cameras packing back out and heading back out of town today. Guess who's got? Yeah, I know 9 more of them things. I don't know. I've had uh, all of my cats, all of my dogs. They all get fixed. That's all there is to it. I don't have accidents. I know what they do. And I know you can't control it all the time. So, and I had brother and sister St. Bernards. I got the dogs with a female dog. I got the beagles. I mean, as soon as they hit, a few months old, they go in and they get fixed. Hey, Bill. Yeah, I saw somebody else said that too, and I wouldn't be surprised, especially cats. Cats at a pretty young age will mate quickly. So I don't know. I think it's crazy. Got one with the flintlock. Need at least one more. Just till the. Oh, you got till the second week of January. Okay. Yeah, they only have uh, gun season up here is 1 week, and that's it. Now they go back. Our bow hunting is still good through January. I hope they get something because I want some meat. That's what I told them. You're welcome to hunt on my property, but if you get something, share a little bit with me. That's all I ask for because I'm not out there hunting right now. And Gail hates the idea because you saw me out there every week last year going and buying corn and getting their food and apples and making sure the deer had food all winter. And it wasn't me doing it; it was Gail making me do it. Is what it was. Uh, I doubt that. It's some quick money for him because people are lined up to buy them, which makes it even worse. But that's what it is. But my whole uh, yeah, chill. Yeah, the back strap, absolutely. But you know what? That's the best part of it. So I don't know if he's gonna let me do that or not. Animals are pretty expensive. I have one cat and 16 chickens. Yes, they are. I have four cats and three dogs. Plus, I don't know how many cats we're up to that Gale feeds outside. The stray cats makes houses for them, and every morning she takes out a can of food for the stray cats who do nothing but irritate the beagles because there's an old trailer next to us, and those cats will get on top of that trailer and you know irritate the boys out there, and they just bark and bark and bark at those cats up on the trailer. I know those cats do that shit on purpose. I'm sure of that. Yeah, I don't know if they'll all sell or not. I don't. You know what? I feel bad for his members. That's who I feel bad for. And I think there's that he can't leave those dogs in that metal dog house with plastic in it. They cannot do that for the winter. It's just inhumane to try to do that to them. So I think that one, the who was it? Jim left his shed there, made a deal with somebody to buy his shed. Uh, I think that's going to become another dog shed. That's what would scare me. But I don't know. Straw is not the answer. It's cold. I could not imagine my dogs being out like that. I would never, ever allow that. I don't care whether they're, they're dogs, they can handle that. No. I'm sleeping in a nice warm bed. My dogs are sleeping in a nice warm bed also. I can't get my house heated up because I've got the big vents in the floor. It's an old house, right? I got the furnace running, right? I'm like, why is it always so cold in this house? I bought this alien seal to go around the doors and, doing all this. And it just stays cold. Then I realized we have 3 rooms down here: kitchen, dining room, and the living room behind me. They each have a big vent in the floor with return air vents, but they each have a big one. They all have cats laying on them. The cats curl up onto the register, the vents, and that's where the heat goes. It's like, no wonder I can't get any heat in the house. I'm going to have to get a kerosene heater fired up just so we can have heat. Let the cats have all the gas, natural gas furnace. Crazy. But you know what? Ed is where I got this idea for tonight's discussion in the live stream about when does a prepper start wasting money. And I was watching his videos up in New York. I mean, I'm going to use him for an example. There are others that do it too. I mean, I watch other preppers who are, long time, they want to be prepped for 10 or 15 years for whatever's coming, which I think is stupid. Absolutely stupid to try to prepare for that long, you know? But I was watching on his in particular, right, when he was in New York visiting his family, and he was finding all this stuff he forgot he had as a prepper, right? And the amount of food supplies, the flour, batteries. I mean, it all had to be thrown away because it'd been sitting there for, 8 or 10 years, not vacuum sealed in any bags or anything, just in glass jars with plastic lids on them, not even vacuum sealed. And I'm thinking, you don't even know what you have. And when you do find what you have, you're throwing it all away. So what's the point in doing 10 years worth of food? If it's not freeze-dried foods, it's not going to last 10 years. And you don't need that much anyway. I've always said, I just want to have enough food to last me till my first harvest. Right? I don't need 10 years worth of food. I rotate all of this stuff. I don't stock or I don't stash food that I don't eat. Right? Now I have cans of meat. I have cans of soup. I have stuff that's 2 or 3 years old. I found some canned tuna from 2022, and that was fine. I used that up before I bought new. But to have the stuff for 10 or 15 years and then find it and to throw it away, it's just a total waste of money. And many of these guys are doing it just to make YouTube videos. They don't care about what, they're throwing away. They just buy whatever they can that week to make a YouTube video. And it's not even, I don't understand it, It just ain't right. It's still hoarding oil lamps. He probably doesn't know how to light one without smoking up the chimney. Flour won't hardly last a year. Exactly. I mean, it's dumb to have those big jars of flour from 2015 that's not even vacuum sealed. Why you're throwing away pounds and pounds and pounds of flour? You know how much money in AA and AAA batteries he was throwing away. You know, and found bug out bags that he didn't even know he had. So that's not a prepper. That's not somebody who takes prepping seriously. That's somebody who makes prepping videos to make money off of YouTube. That's what that is. Yeah, now what I vacuum seal, like with flour and with rice, I put it in the freezer for a couple days. Then I vacuum seal it. Then it will last a few years. But I don't know. That's how they waste money, right? They're not thinking when they're doing it. Yeah, I know exactly what I have. I'm not going to one day uncover something. Oh, I forgot I did that. All my stuff is put away, and I have an inventory of what I have. And before I go grocery shopping, I look at what I have and make sure that, okay, I look at my pantry and I need something. Well, I look at my preps to see if I have that in my preps. And if I do, I pull it out of my preps. Then I buy it to replace what's in my preps. So my preps, I'm eating all the time. Right. And that's why, like most of them, I don't have to go to the store every day. Like we can go 2 or 3 weeks and never have to go to a store. So that's the idea behind prepping. I prep what we eat and I eat what I've prepped and then replace it. That's how simple, that's how you don't waste money as a prepper. The bag in the box set up. I know. And all the stuff that was in it, he didn't even know what was in it. Oh, I throw this away and throw this away and throw that away. Why? Why have it then? You know, I'll guarantee you he doesn't have one in that truck that he's driving back and forth and goes out every day. They're not going to do that. I'm telling you, I think uh, the members are taking care of themselves. That's what I would be doing. I would have my own stuff down there in my own building, and that's all I would worry about. I don't need a group thing. I'm paying you 150 bucks for my cabin so I can keep it fully stocked. End of story. I don't need a pavilion. I don't need a shower room. I'll take care of that on my own. But that's just me. That's how I would do it. Hey, Red Rooster, what's up? Welcome, buddy. I get some things going on in here. I don't want this to turn into Bash and Ed video. But like I said, the only reason why I even brought it up is he's the one that made me think of this and how we can be smarter when it comes to prepping. It's very expensive to be a prepper as far as I'm concerned. I know it is for me. Uh, Sometimes I go to the grocery store and it's like, man, money's tight. I have all this food at home, but I don't want to, cut myself short. So I still have to buy it. I'm, I'm buying, vegetables now at $1 a can when what I have from, 2 or 3 years ago was 40 cents a can. And that's what I'm eating. But yeah, I mean, you keep an inventory of what you have. I know exactly, I can pull out my book and know exactly what I have. And like I said, if I make out the grocery list, I know what groceries we got to have for the week. We try to, you know, do a week's worth of groceries and look at what I have in my preps. So I'll pull all the stuff out that I'm going to need that I am buying at the store. I will pull it out of preps, and then what I buy at the store, I'll replace in the preps. So it's always being rotated. It's never going to be too old. Who is this Ed Clown? Prepper Nurse 1. I remember, speaking of those oil lamps, he had those kerosene lamps in when he was in New York in the shed there in New York. So he was showing how to use the kerosene lamp. This was so funny. I still laugh to this day thinking about it. He was trying to fill up one of those kerosene lanterns from a 5-gallon container of kerosene, like what I used to fill my tractor up. And he's sitting at the kitchen table trying to fill up this little hole out of that big jug. There was kerosene all over the place because he could, I was scared when he lit a match because the whole place was going to go up. But yeah, I laughed so hard at that. I couldn't believe it. Hey, Pittsburgh Project. Yeah, I saw that's the last time I mean, very few do I see of his anymore. But when he found the bug out bags, a lot of good that does too to have a bug out bag and you don't even know where it is. It's like, what's the point in having a bug out bag? You don't know where to, and you're living at your place. Where are you bugging out? I don't have a bug out bag. I have a bag that will get me from here to St. Bernard Acres. But once I'm living out at St. Bernard Acres, I'm not going to have a bug out bag. I'm not bugging out anywhere. You know? It just, it's pointless to even talk about those when you're living at your homestead. But yeah, I don't think I would ever make a video telling people that I shit my pants. His sister and daughter turned that dumpster in one into. Oh yeah, doesn't it look nice? I was so impressed with that. You know, it they've done a great job with it. And his sister is smart and got electric run out to the place. You know, I like the idea when my cabin was solar powered. It did me just fine. It ran what I needed to run and took care of me. Now with Gail moving out there and all the animals and all this, they're not going to live like I was willing to live. So I'm glad I ran the electric. I mean, I will take advantage of it as long as it's there. I like the convenience of having electric. I like the idea of being off grid, and I like the fact that it's not going to cost me $150 a month to have electric once it's gone. And I have all that I need to produce my own power when the electric grid does go down. But as long as it's there, I'm taking advantage of it. You know, that's why it doesn't say St. Bernard Acres off grid homestead. Too many apples. It was not too many. I'm still not convinced it was too many apples. I'm telling you, I think it was that 10-year-old can of peaches he sat there and ate on video. You know? I mean, preps. And like I said, I've got a year to 18 months worth of food supplies prepped. That does not take up a tremendous amount of space. Now, some of that is here in my heated and air conditioned home. Some of it's out in the cabin in the heated and air conditioned cabin. So it doesn't sit there and get subject to freezing and thawing out and cooking in the cans and bags and then freezing again. Mine is more, fortunately, closer to a climate controlled thing. Uh, what was it, pears? Yeah, whatever it was, a few years old. And that's when that came about. I think I love apples. I've never shit my pants because I eat too many apples. Maybe it affects some people the other way. I have no idea. But yeah, I just don't. I've never been able to understand that need to have 10 or 12 or 15 years worth of food prepped items. You're hoarding because you're throwing it away. You know, I guarantee you most of those buckets he's been dragging around for the last 10 years, should be thrown away. And I'm not sure about, I don't know, I know eggs, our farm fresh eggs set out on the table when we had the chickens and everything. I only let them sit there for 2 or 3 weeks. I only had 6 chickens and I was giving eggs away. Um, but it's real easy to test your eggs to see if they're good and worth eating. And I don't know that he's ever done. If I stored eggs like he does, especially in that hot battery room and freezing battery room, but it's nothing to have you a bowl of water and drop the eggs in and see what they do. You know which ones are bad, you know which ones are good. Red Brewster, prepping should be simple. Use basic common sense. Exactly. That's all it is. You know? That's all you have to do. And you buy a little bit extra to set aside. But you rotate that. That's the most important part. You know? I don't have any stapled items, nothing that's vacuum sealed in bags that's over a year old. I will cycle through that stuff. And I'll buy another 25 pounds of rice and I'll put them in, 1 and 2 cups in a bag and seal that, you know. And I use that. I don't go to the store and buy a new bag of rice and then start using it. I know what's in my storage and I grab that. Eat the floaters, easy to retrieve. Yeah, exactly. Things will happen we never expect. Well, I mean, that's why you prep. My, I think what I want to prep for is the way I look at being prepared. I think whatever's going to happen, you're only talking a year, year and a half, and no matter what happens, some semblance of the new normalcy is going to come around, you know? You cannot stay hidden in a cave for 15 years to use up all your prep supplies, you know? And what scares me about the group program, right? Yes, let's say Gary. I know Gary. Gary is welcome anytime he wants to come. He's got a spot there, and if the shit hits the fan, Gary's got a spot. End of story. He doesn't pay me, but he's there. The Where the problem lies in, number one, I know him. He doesn't pay me. I didn't meet him, he didn't fill out an application to come and join my group. But what could be a problem is when Gary comes, right? He's obviously going to have to bring his wife, his sons, all the extended family that's going to come. Well, I don't know them. I don't know how they're going to fit in with my family. That's what would scare me about having so many people in a group. They're bringing everybody with them. I don't know how you handle that one. While the grid is up, I'm using it. Exactly. Gonna order into Amazon, filled up propane and Suburban today. Stock healthy food stuff. I shit my pants and a grid down. Yeah, yeah, gotta have that in your preps. But yeah, I'm anxious. I'm really anxious to get out to St. Bernard Acres. Next spring, I will have a garden and I will have chickens. That's There's undeniable on that one because I'm going to be living out there next spring. I think he owns post hole diggers. I don't use those anymore. I bought an auger, and I've got a couple of people out there that have 3-point augers that I can borrow to use on my tractor if I wanted to. And Bobby's got one on his skid steer that he can come over and drill me some holes real quick. But I'm going to have a working homestead. That's my prepping, you know? The old time homesteaders, the real homesteaders back in the day, they were the best preppers. They were the first preppers. Didn't even know they were preppers, but that's how I want to be. Yes, post hole diggers on. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you how bad Ed's stuff is. Uh, the I let him borrow my post hole auger, my post hole, gas powered auger, right? When they were starting the pavilion, that would not go through the ground that he's got there. Wouldn't do it. That's how bad that ground is. All right, 1 second after, you're hoping he gets out there too. Uh, yeah, this spring. This is the time. I'm telling you, things are bad. Things are really, really bad. We are headed for some really bad times in this country. I mean, you got Trump telling us that, we should hate the Somalians and, we got to get rid of the Somalians, and it's like, I mean, I agree, but I don't need the president telling me to go get rid of them. Because you know what all that's leading to. We're headed there. Yeah, cheap, $150. Yeah, I mean, I think I paid $140 for that earthquake auger. I bought it off of Amazon, I think. But now that I've got the tractor, I want a 3-point auger. Because I do have a lot of fencing I got to do once I move out there next spring. I'll be working on all the fencing as well. But the garden is part of my prepping. The chickens are part of my prepping. The bees, I'm going to get bees and I'm going to learn how that works because I am going to have a dedicated orchard down there, not 50 apple trees and 50 this tree and 50 that tree. I'm talking couple three apple trees, couple peach trees, that. I'm not trying to, you know, just for the sake of videos, plant so many friggin' trees. But I'll need the bees to pollinate my trees and my garden. So I'll learn how to do bees. I've watched Ed's videos on bees, so now I know what not to do. That's all I needed. But I've got a guy out there, one of the guys that is in our, you know, impromptu group. Uh, they he's a bee. He's got many hives out there. So I've got him to, teach me how to do it. So I'll learn from a very experienced person and I will learn from him. I'll be busy out there, man. I cannot wait. I'm so ready to get out there and get everything ready. It's got to be done. I mean, I'm 68 years old. I figure I only got about 30 or 40 years left. So I got to get busy on that crap. But I would like to, uh, I mean, that's another question comes up. Why, you're 68 years old. Why are you worried about prepping? Why do you want to be a prepper? Right? I've got kids who are going to need this stuff. What I can learn, I can teach them. And I can get them set up to where if I'm not here and something happens, they have that safety net. So it's just as important to prep for them as it is for me, regardless of my age. You know, I mean, I'm in good shape. I could go out there and live and really not worry about anything if it was just me. But I've got Gail, I've got Nick and Alex, and I got the animals. I mean, I got to worry about all of that stuff. That's why I'm prepping. It ain't just about me. You think I got to worry about prepping or my gummies? But I'm gonna start growing my own out there. I got that barn. I got grow lights. I know how that shit works. I'll be sitting out there happy at least. Grow a gummy tree. I just have to learn how to make my own gummies. I'll get the THC. I can grow the THC. I just got to get the recipe for how to extract the THC. And I won't even need gummies then. I'll have my bowl. I'll just smoke them whole whenever I need it. And like I said, be happy. That's the thing too about prepping. I look at prepping. I'd want to, um, if SHTF happens, it's going to disrupt. I got to quit doing that with my hands. It's going to disrupt everything. But I want to have as little disruption as possible. I would like to go through an event as normal as possible, without having to be a survivalist. You know, if you're not prepared, then you have to become a survivalist, which you won't become. I don't want it to get to the point where I have to survive. I want it to get to the point where I'm prepared to continue on my life until things come back around. Yeah, chocolate brownies. Yep. I'll tell you a story. When this has nothing to do with prepping. Um, by Joe's hands. Exactly. Uh, when I lived in Houston, when I was in my early 20s, we used to smoke all the time. I always had pot. Well, I lived in a trailer court, and I lived at the end of each road. There was a big viaduct that ran through Houston. Well, I was at the end of one of the roads. My trailer, there's a whole bunch of roads going through the trailer park. Well, one day there was this Chevy Impala parked down at the end of our road there. Um, Kind of like at the end of the road between my trailer and the guy across the street, his trailer just parked there. And it was there for 2 or 3 days. It never moved. We never saw who parked it there. And so, we were over there checking it out one day, and there was a big tarp covering up the back floorboard. So now we're thinking, oh man, dead body or something in there. We didn't know what it was. Well, the guy across the road from me worked for a Chevy dealership, and he had a key. We couldn't unlock the doors, but it would unlock the trunk. So we unlocked the trunk, opened it up, pulled up the tarp. Everything was under a tarp in the trunk. We pulled up that tarp, and there was all the chemicals and equipment to make a ton of speed. I was like, wow, you know, I know people who will pay good money for this shit. That was my first thought is I know a guy who will buy all this stuff. Well, the dude across the street from me who had the key immediately called the cops, which kind of pissed me off because I was going to make some bucks off of that. But so the cops come out, they had to bring a hazmat crew out and all this kind of shit. Well, in the back seat when they opened up the door, pulled the tarp back. Well, there was more stuff for a speed manufacturing spot. It was all there. And the cops were there, and he asked me if he could use my phone. Right, there were no cell phones or anything like that back then. But he had to make a phone call. That was right in front of my trailer, and he asked if he could use my phone. I said, yeah, no problem. My girlfriend's in there. Go ahead and go in. Then it dawned on me. My girlfriend was in there making marijuana tea. I'm talking a couple baggies full of stems. We used to keep all of our stems and then boil them up and make tea out of it. The place reeked of marijuana. I'm like, oh shit, I just told that cop to go in my trailer. Not even thinking about the bag or two of weed I had in there, but all those stems that were cooking on the stove when he walked in. I mean, he was cool. He didn't say anything. He went in to use the phone and, he came out and he looked at me and kind of rolled his eyes, but he didn't do anything to me at least. The kitchen and the caddy. That was funny though. It scared the shit out of me. I thought I was going to prison. Yeah, I want to get into some good prepping conversations here and um, get this channel going. I'm excited. It's going to take a while. I know that. I've got to do so much work on the other one. I got so much work to do out there. But I want to get this started because once I move out there, I'm going to have a whole. Gary and I are putting in a whole bushcraft base camp where we will actually practice survival skills and bushcrafting skills because that's a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing that. I've just been so busy lately. I haven't had time to dedicate to it. But then we'll figure it out. The off-grid project, Joe. You're prepping for your last years. I'm looking the same way. instead of shitting my pants with no idea what to do. Downsize to make life enjoyable. Exactly. That's all there is to it. And, uh, we've worked hard all of our lives. I don't want to work hard anymore. I want to work. I enjoy it, you know, but I'm never going to get in the position where, I mean, if I get in a position where I start shitting myself, then I'm prepared for that too, because I'm not going to be a burden to anybody, and I'm not going to suffer the indignity of that. I'll just put that out there right now. Yeah, my bushcraft base camp compound is going to be great. We're going to have a lot of fun out there. And I'm friends with quite a few people on YouTube who do bushcrafting and uh, the camping and building structure. We're going to have meetups and gatherings out there of other YouTube people, and we'll spend the weekend out in the woods. Be a lot of fun because about halfway between here and St. Bernard Acres, I had purchased a long time ago a couple acres in the woods. Now, it was landlocked, so it didn't work out too well. I mean, I have a right away to get to it, but to make it a family home or homestead, I couldn't do it. But that's going to become, and nobody knows where it is, but that's going to become, and I use it. My thoughts with it is if I have to leave here on foot to get to St. Bernard Acres, depending on what event occurs, that, it's 62 miles from here to my door at St. Bernard Acres, going via the freeway. That wouldn't be quite as far traveling cross country, but I can't do that. I would get 6 or 7 miles a day, I figure. So I'm looking at 10 days to get there. Well, I can get halfway to my spot there and rest up for a couple days. I have supplies there that I can resupply with. Then I can make it another 5 days on into St. Bernard Acres. Yeah, I don't charge $150 a month for it either. You know. But I say again, I mean, I will admit this. If I did not have St. Bernard Acres, if I didn't have those couple of acres there, if I couldn't find a place to buy me a couple, 3 acres, I don't know if you've looked at the cost of campground sites to have a permanent site at a campground, but now when it was $100 a month, I would really consider it. 150 for absolutely zero amenities. You have no sanitation, you have no water, you have no nothing. I'm not sure that's worth $150, but just having that campsite and having your own secluded area and your own cabin there, that's not that bad of a price, really. What about gas storage for SHTF? I mean, I have some. I try to keep 25, 30 gallons rotated. I use it in the lawnmowers and stuff, but I'm not, you can only store gasoline for so long. I've got a couple of 55-gallon barrels out there that I got from work with alcohol in, isopropyl alcohol in them. And I took those barrels, I've got a bunch of the barrels out there. And a couple of them I have, full of kerosene. I got about 100 gallons of kerosene because I have kerosene heaters. And kerosene will last forever, you know. And there was the pump store here in Wheeling. I would go by, every couple of weeks and fill up, 2 or 3 5-gallon jugs of kerosene, take it out there and pour it in the barrels. So I have enough for my kerosene heaters to last me a season if I had to do it. Gas, not so much. I don't really worry that much about it. Uh, Usually propane will last forever pretty much. Yeah, that's the next thing I want to do is a couple of those barrels. I want to start filling full of diesel. Um, and the propane, I mean, I've got that 100-gallon tank there. I'm going to have a 300-gallon tank when I build the house. I mean, next spring I'll have a 300-gallon tank out there. I probably have 3 or 4 20-pound propane tanks that I use. I'm not really stocked up on that too well. I probably could get some more, but that's not a priority right now because I got the big tank out there anyway. Yeah, that's it, man. That's the way I look at it. And I rotate it. I have stabilizer out there. And if something happens, like, okay, this 30 gallons of gas is going to have to last me at least a year, then I'll use that. But because I do rotate it, I don't worry too much about it. And I've run the gas, I mean, all of my lawnmowers, I don't drain them uh, when I put them away. And whatever gas they have in them, I've never used any kind of gas treatment in one of my lawnmowers or weed eaters or anything. And in springtime, when it's ready to start using, they always fire up and they go. I put fresh gas in the tank and they go. Yeah, that's the only thing I would use the gas for is the generator. But I have all of that I'm going to keep the 100-gallon tank at the cabin full. And then I'll have a 300-gallon tank for my house. And it will just be supplemental heat. I have a wood stove, and I'm thinking mini splits. So the propane will just be supplemental. It's for the stove and to heat some at night. So I don't have to get up in the middle of the night and stoke the wood stove. I'll have propane just to back it up. All right, Rooster, I appreciate it, man. I enjoy it too, man. You anytime, every Wednesday night, jump in here with us, bud. Oh hell, it's 9 o'clock anyway. Have yourself a good night, man. I appreciate it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I want to get a propane generator. I want a generator that'll run off of propane. Um, Now I have 3 generators, but none of them run off of propane. They're all gasoline. Um, so I got to work on that. And I think, like I said, once I get moved out there, it's going to get a whole lot easier. My financial situation right now sucks because I've got all of this here that I have to take care of and maintain and pay all of these bills. Well, I'm trying to build out there and pay the bills out there. I now have an electric bill out there. I got the propane bill. I got grocery bills out there. I got to buy, totes for water. I got to, buy material. But if I can actually somehow swing it to where I move out there in the spring, then I sell this and all of these expenses go away. And it's dumb stuff that happens. The shower upstairs is very old. The shower head's been leaking, right? But it only leaks when you're taking a shower. It's not like it's a steady drip. Well, today, I don't know how old the pipe is that's coming out of it. Today, Nick said, by the way, it's not the shower head that was leaking. The pipe coming out broke at the threads. So, and it stuck inside the shower head. I can't get that out. So now I got to buy a new one of those and a new shower head. Those kind of things pop up, and Takes away from what I can do out there. You can get a converter to run a gas generator with a propane. Oh, that's what I need to look into then. You're right. Yeah. Um, yeah, you're right. I can't certainly. That's what I need to do. At least one of them I need to set up to run propane. I mean, I like the dual fuel ones, but that would be if I could afford a new one. But I start my generators every month. I don't let them sit there and do nothing. I'm glad I don't have to use them very often. And then, I've got two or three of those solar, they call them solar generators, but they're power banks that I can charge back up. About $125 for the kit. That's a whole lot cheaper than buying a dual fuel generator. So, yeah, I'll definitely have to do that for that kind of price. All right, guys, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to close this one out. Um, look forward. Now that I've got this all set up, and I'm not going to have issues where it keeps dropping out. I mean, uh, my laptop that I use to do my live streams with out at St. Bernard Acres and edit all my videos on, and that thing's about 5 or 6 years old. And Best Buy had their Black Friday thing, and it had another HP really, like half off. So Gail bought me an early Christmas present. And that's what I got set up now. That way I can do things from here and out there and not have to worry about it. So I think we're set now. I'll be able to do every Wednesday night. Tomorrow I'm doing by the way, look for a video on this channel tomorrow. I got these lithium AA and AAA batteries sent to me. And uh, lithium charger that charges 8 of these batteries at a time. If SHTF happens, you need a whole lot of batteries, right? These lithium batteries, these lithium AA's, you can recharge 1,200 times. I got 8 of them. That's like 9,600 AA batteries. And it powered by USB. So you don't even have to have electricity to use this charger. So I'm going to be doing a video on that tomorrow on this channel. But I appreciate everybody hanging out, and we're going to get this thing going, and we'll see everybody Wednesday night. Have a good one, all. I'm out.